Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Michelle and this is Michelle Creates. In this video, I'm going to teach you and show you how to do a project with plastic canvas. This is plastic canvas. I ordered this on Amazon. It comes in a pack of 6 and they're pretty big sheets. And so what I'm using today, these are leftover scraps from other projects that I've done. So this is a leftover and I'm going to be making a bookmark with this. Okay. I'm also using scrap yarn. This is leftover yarn from an Afghan that I made. It was a gradient one, so I have 3 different colors. I actually just cut the yarn up to separate my colors to be able to do this. The yarn is acrylic, weight 4. Just use any kind of craft yarn, and it's really fun to use up your yarn that you have. I don't have enough to make something else, so I thought, oh, I'll do something with plastic canvas. So I have 3 separate colors here. Next thing you're going to need your little scissors. The needle that you're going to want to use is, some people call it a chenille needle or a tapestry needle. It's metal. It does have a point on the end. It's sharper. And the eye is more narrow, okay? As opposed to the plastic, this eye is too wide. It doesn't go through the holes on the plastic canvas. So you're going to want to grab a metal needle, and then because I'm going to do 3 colors, I needed to divide this up, so I just have a tape measure. You can use either inches or centimeters and divide it up. Another tape measure you can use, and then what I did was I took a dry erase marker and made little tick marks where dividing this up in thirds, and just make a little mark. This does rub off, so it's nice to use, and I picked a color that's similar to this, so just in case some of it doesn't rub off, it's not even going to show. All right, so first thing we're going to do is, how much yarn do you need? Because I'm working a decent sized square here, I wanted to grab enough so hopefully I don't run out as I'm going along. And how I measured it was, I took about 1, 2, 3, okay, about 3 of this, as I just pull it nice and comfortable, pulling it apart, and then cut it off. All right, so let's get the yarn in the needle. Because yarn, this has 4 strands to it, it does come apart a little bit on the end. So what I do to get the yarn in the needle, I folded it a little bit. It's got fuzz all over it. And that helps me get it into the eye of the needle. And then just give it a decent amount of tail here, not too much, because it makes it thicker going through the holes on the plastic canvas. So just about that much, because you don't want this to come off on the end. All right, first thing, I'm going to start at the top. And I'm actually going to go across. You can go down. It depends on the pattern that you're doing. And I'm just kind of making this up. Like I said, just using up my scraps. I'm going to actually go across. I also like making sure my backside is nice and neat, just in case, you know, you want it to be reversible. And I like all of the ends tacked down. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip this outer rim here. This is going to be your border. Okay, so we're going to work on the inside squares. And I'm going to start from the top here. You have this first square. I'm going to go down 1. Okay, and we are going to be working, I'm going from underneath, okay, coming up from under. And I'm going to pull this up. And then I'm going to right away now I'm going to work diagonal. All of these stitches are going to be diagonal. Okay, so I'm going up 1 at a slant. Pull this through. This is why you don't want your yarn too long. You want to be able to work with it. And sometimes it gets knotted behind, and so you don't want too much of it. All right, this is where, how much do you leave here on the back side? About enough just to hold your finger down. You don't want it to extend your project. Of course you could cut it, but I'm going to keep it about that short. Okay, and then from here You want to hold that down. I'm going to go now into that same row where I started and go from behind, insert that, and I want to keep this yarn down because I'm catching that tail now back there with the new stitch that I put in. Okay, see how I went with this yarn under my loop? Okay, now I'm going to go to the top row and I did diagonal and stitch that through. Okay, now this is where I'm going to catch that yarn underneath. So it's going in the right direction, so it's making it easier for me. I want to make sure that I'm going below it. See what I'm saying? That yarn coming through here, I want to go below that yarn. Pull this through. This is kind of the beginning of it is probably the slowest part of it, and see how it's nice and flat. So it's going to be nice and neat on that back side. And then again, I'm going diagonal up. And then I have one more I want to kind of watch. I'm going below that yarn back there to catch that very last part. And the top diagonal to the right. I'm a right-handed person, so I am going left to right on here. Okay, see how nice and neat? Looks almost the same from the front to the back. All right, now I'm just going to keep going that second row, up diagonal to the right, top row, and keep working it. Yes, this project does take a little bit longer. That's why I grabbed a smaller piece here, so this project doesn't take too long, so you get the gist of how to work with yarn and plastic canvas, needlepoint, I guess. And we're almost to the end, so I can show you how to, if your yarn is going to be catching on the corners or whatever, flip your thing upside down and pull it that way. It keeps the yarn dangling down straight. Again, I'm on that second row, going diagonal to the right to the top row. And here I'm going to show you, see how you just let the yarn dangle, it helps. Okay, now because I want the yarn to look decent going to the next row, I am going to go down to the next row, okay, the one that does not have any yarn in it at all. I'm going one in, I'm going there because I want the yarn to keep going in this diagonal direction from behind. Then I'm going to catch up to the top one to the right, one to the right diagonal. Okay, now because I want it to keep going in that diagonal direction, but I don't want it to cross over too much in the back, I'm actually going to now go straight to the side. I'm going one square to the left, and this is now I'm using the same square that had yarn in it from the row above, going into that one, and then I'm going to now go down one square to the left diagonal. Why? Well, you could do it different ways, but I like the way the edging looks here. All the yarn is going the same way. You don't have this weird loop. And then I'll show you what it looks like. Going up one, it's like I'm going straight up now to that square that was right above it, and then going diagonal one to the left. Okay, back side, look how neat it is. And I'm not wasting yarn. I'm not like extra looping or pulling it over and then going backwards. I like to save on my yarn, not overuse it. And I also like the thickness on the back to be the same. Also, I don't want it to be too bulky back there. So again, the one that I just came from, I'm going up one, straight up, and then I'm going diagonal left down. And then I wanted to catch on the corner, so flip that off, tip it upside down. You'll find different techniques to make it a little faster. Once you get in the groove, It moves pretty smooth. Why is this tighter pulling through? Because that's where that yarn is, that back yarn, the starter yarn. It took up a little extra space in the square, so it was a little thicker in there pulling that through. On the last square, I'm going up 1 from where I came, going diagonal down to the left, and that was the last one on that row. Okay, now I don't want to go straight down because then you get this, the yarn doesn't lay flat. I want it to keep going in this diagonal direction. So I am going to go over 1 in. Okay, I'm in the same exact row here. You'll see it with the needle. I'm in the same exact row that I just finished, and I went in 1. Okay, now what that's doing is it's pulling the yarn back in this direction, so it keeps that nice diagonal. I don't know, I'm a little picky. You can do it how you want, but I just like to keep the yarn looking the same in each row. Now I'm going over to the left, down 1 diagonal. Woo! Okay, a little fuzzy was catching on the thing. That was interesting. All right, now I want to get back to that same pattern that I did at the beginning. So I'm going to go over 1 square to the right, and it's in the same row where I just came from. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to go diagonal to the right, up 1. Yes, there's a formula, there's a pattern. And then I'm going straight down, right below that. And then I'm going up 1 to the right, diagonal. And that's how you do that row. That was straight under that one, going to the right, up 1, diagonal. Just kind of getting this pattern in your mind as you're working it, so you keep track of what you're doing, especially if you have distractions. You're hearing something in the background or whatever. You get this little pattern going on in your mind. It helps you keep track. This yarn has been really nice so far. It's not knotting up behind me. Why would it not? Because it would be twisted. As I'm doing my needle, each time I'm doing this, I'm kind of twisting my yarn up. But this yarn is actually cooperating very nicely. It does help. Hopefully that wasn't too close to the camera. It does help to stretch it out a little bit. Flip it upside down. It was knotting right there. Oh, I jinxed it. Shake your yarn a little bit. Obviously, the more I'm doing this, the more I'm twisting it. Okay, I'm at the end. So I'm up 1 diagonal to the right. And now I'm going to go, I want to keep this in a diagonal pattern. So I'm going to go down 1 row, in 1, and then back up 1 to the right at a diagonal. Now I'm going 1 to the left, same row that I just came from, and down 1 to the left. Create my diagonals there. And now I'm going straight up from the one that I just came from, and 1 down to the left at a diagonal. And again, like I said, once you get your pattern and your flow going, it does work pretty quick. And of course my yarn is getting a little shorter, so I have less to pull through. And I go straight up from that one. My tail is starting to come out a little bit. I don't want that to come all the way out, so I'm going to catch that, pull that a little bit longer on there, and diagonally 1 down to the left. And I'm going to flip this one. Last one, straight up one, one to the left, down, diagonal. And there you have it. I'm going over, same row, one down to the right, diagonal, one down to the left, diagonal, and then I'm going to go one to the right, straight across, and up. Up one diagonal, straight down below it, one up, right to diagonal, straight below it. And honestly, I keep repeating myself because, you know, until you've been doing this for a while, it's kind of like, wait, what am I doing? You have to kind of get into a rhythm. And honestly, if you're, I mean, it's kind of hard to make a mistake, but let's say you do make a mistake, you miss a square, whatever, you're going the wrong way. It's not that fun to take this out, especially this much yarn that I've put in here already. I do recommend, if you do have to take it out, like let's say you have to take the whole thing out, start from the back, start from the beginning, find that tail or that side that went in, pull that because that's the shorter end, and pull it out from there. I use my needle, the point, to pull that up so you don't start shredding and pulling apart your yarn. Or let's say you only have a couple that you want to fix. I actually go backwards with the needle, going straight through. You want to make sure you pull that yarn far enough away because you don't want to start sticking the needle into the yarn. Then that makes a huge mess. And you literally just go backwards, undoing what you just did with the needle. I think that's quicker than trying to pull each one with the needle, if that makes any sense. Not that I'm crossing my fingers right now, but I'm crossing my fingers that I don't make any mistakes. Sometimes if you do, you'll notice it and you'll be like, oh, I knew I did that. But you have to really look at it and go, does it really show? Because this one is not fun to have to start over. All right, I'm at the end. I want it to make sure that it's at a diagonal. So I want to go, now this is where I have to think again because I kind of got off track. Skip a row, go in one, head up diagonal to the right. Now go straight to the left on top. And go one down to the left. And here's my work on the back. Oh, cool. Not that it looks like the front, because why? The front you're going diagonal here, but in the back it's going straight down basically, but it still looks cute and it would work for a reversible project. Going up, straight up, and going one down to the left. And I am not fast forwarding this. I'm not editing this for right now. I just want to keep this like, so you, just in case things happen along the way, I give you tips and, you know, figure out your little mishaps. It shows you how long this actually takes. And you know, I'm here to teach you how to do this. And so let's say things happen along the way. If I just skip to the end, well, this is what it looks like. You're like, wait a minute, now this happened, how do I fix this? Then we have all these questions. So, you know, I'm just going to keep going and just showing you how to do this, like we're working together on it. Okay, I've got two issues I want to fix. This is getting short, so I want to pull that. And I'm noticing, excuse me, I'm noticing wrinkles, or not wrinkles, I'm noticing twists. Okay, which is a potential knot. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull my project away here a little bit. I'm going to pull on my yarn from the beginning here and lifting up my hand. I'm actually pulling my project away from me because of the camera here. And I want my needle to, because of the weight in the needle, it will untwist my yarn. Still have some in here, so I'm going to do that again. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but okay. Just want to help get those little twists out so I don't have potential knots going on here. I can also take my finger and hold that yarn down, and that will help straighten it out, flatten it out, whatever. It helps prevent those knots from happening. Holding this so I can shake it down. See how it's going to get knotted up? So I want to take this, whatever techniques you can find to keep your project moving along. Be aware that that will happen the more you're twisting your yarn. So you want to prevent that. It's not fun having to stop and get your knots out of your yarn periodically. It really slows you down. I'm holding it down with my finger in the back. That helped me prevent the knots. Okay, I'm at the end here, and then I'm going to go down. Okay, I'm going into the one in, same row as before. One down to the left diagonally. Okay, then I'm going to go one in, straight next to it, straight next to it. Okay, now I'm going up one to the right diagonal. What's the trickiest part? Well, I don't know. I guess the ends, to make sure that your yarn is staying nice and neat and keeping the yarn going the same way. The rest of this, not tricky at all. You just want to prevent those knots. Woo! And that completely flipped over. And I'm going to try to unwind this a little bit. You can also let that happen. See how that the weight of that unwound that? Do a little bit of both. Stop, take the time to do that. Okay, we went down one to the right diagonal. One straight down underneath that, and one to the right diagonal. Hopefully you're able to maybe watch the video once and just kind of scan through it to see what we're doing, but hopefully you're able to just kind of work along with me. So we're doing this project together. Hopefully I'm not going too fast or too slow, but whatever. Okay, yeah, my thumb has rubbed off the mark. I can still see it a little bit, so it doesn't completely go away, that dry erase, but it rubs off for the most part, so it's not going to show. All right, we're at the end. We're going to go in one and down one row. In one, down one. Now go back up to the right, one diagonal. Now go straight to the left, one, and diagonal, one down to the left. Now straight up. And down one to the left. Okay, I'm gonna take a moment after I get this row done Woo, get that tail going on there. All right. I'm going to count. How many do I have here? I mean, it depends on the scrap that you have, but if you want to do this pattern, how many squares are you using? Counting across, I have 1, 2, these are squares. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to count the border too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm counting the stem, the grid. I'm counting the plastic, the log, the vertical, whatever. 10 of them to make this pattern. All right, now we're going to go in one, same row, down one, to the left, diagonal. Straight across, 1 to the right, and 1 to the right, up, diagonal. Straight down, 1, one to the right, diagonal, up. And obviously, the shorter my yarn gets here, the quicker this is. So you want to make sure that your yarn isn't behind here and you're catching it with the needle. Just take your fingers underneath, pull that out of the way. Seems to be there's a lot to look for here, a lot to keep track of. Yes and no. Pulling that yarn out of the way with my fingers from underneath. That also helps keep the yarn stretched out, preventing knots, pushing it down here, holding it, whatever. And to keep this diagonal, we're going 1 down diagonal to the left, 1 up diagonal to the right, 1 straight across to the left, 1 down diagonal to the left. And there's our pattern. Straight up, 1 down to the left, straight up, down to the left 1. Okay, time to untwist. Cute. Yeah, don't twist yourself together. There we go. And 1 up, straight up. Okay, that was a little crazy. I feel like I caught a little bit of the yarn there with the needle. Ooh, the tail, let's pull that. What I want to do is get to the end here to show you how to tack down. And then I also want to show you how to do the border. So I'm going to go same row, 1 over to the right, 1 down diagonal to the left, 1 straight over to the right. Straight over means same row. 1 diagonal up to the right. Straight down, 1 up to the right. Now my yarn wants to keep going down behind there, so I'm taking my left hand, the fingers behind, and pushing that up, lifting it up, And I'm at the end of the row. Okay, one down to the left, diagonal, one up to the right, diagonal, one straight across to the left, and now one down to the left, diagonal, one straight up, one down to the left, diagonal. See how nice and cute that is on the back? One straight up. Just checking to see how many more rows I have here. Looks like I have, what, 2? Okay, we're gonna untwist, pull that tail. Not too bad. Straight up. Must have caught a little fuzzy. Oh, no, never mind. You want to make sure that when you're going through the row that's already done, you want to make sure you go like a little, go below. Like, don't try to go up towards the yarn. Take your needle point and go more away from it, because you don't want to start catching the strands from above. It'll make your work not as neat. It's also harder to pull through. And then let's say you had to pull it out. Ooh, that gets really hard, because now you're blending those strands together. And last one here, checking. I'm gonna do one more row. All right, so go straight across, one to the right, diagonal, one to the left, down, straight across, one to the right, diagonal, one to the right, up, one down, straight down, one to the right, diagonal, up, one, straight down, there's a couple different ways you can do the border. You can pick a completely different color to go around. Because I have multiple colors, I may want to do that. I might want to do like a white to go around it. You can also do the same color you're working with, and especially if you have extra yarn to work with, which I do, meaning extra yarn. I've got it still on my needle. I'm trying to eyeball here and see if I think I might have enough to do a border here. All right, I want to count these rows going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to count the next ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I'm going to do one more row because I can already tell it won't be even otherwise. One more row of this. Okay, that was weird. I just ended up pulling on that tail there. So I think I'm going to do the border just to show you how to cap this off, because now, you know, let's just say I did the whole thing here. It's the same thing repeated, so I'm not going to keep going. I'm going to show you how to do a border. It could be either with the same color or a different color. It's not going to matter. It's going to be the same thing. So once I get here to the end of this row, we're going to cap it off with that border. And, you know, even if I run out, excuse me, even if I run out of yarn, I have more. The color, it's not going to matter. It's not going to make any difference. It's not going to show. All right, so I'm going to do a border. And I don't want this to go straight out here. See how that, you can tell how that one's going out. So I actually want to keep this neat. Now it's different when you start from scratch, because what you would do to start from scratch is you would basically do the same concept that I did up here, where I got that tail and I tucked it under and I weaved the yarn around it. But I don't have that here, so I also don't want to skip a square. So what I'm thinking is I might go, I don't want to have a strand here where you could catch your finger on it. So I'm thinking I want to go under a couple here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through all of it because I don't know, it's just really hard to get your needle through, but I'm going to try. So I'm going under. I want to keep it nice and neat on the back side. I'm going to go up to a little over half, okay? It gets hard to pull your needle through if you go any farther. So I'm going under half here, and I'm going to pull that through. Obviously it's tricky to pull through because the yarn is tight on there. All right, look at that. So what's happening here is it's nice and neat on the end. It's tucked under. Okay, now I'm going to keep going in that same direction. I'm going to catch this first one, and I'm going to keep going till I get to the end. Okay. A little tricky to push through, especially when you have lotion on your hands. Gotta have the lotion though, because otherwise the yarn kind of sticks to my hands. Okay, cool, look at that. Got it all the way nice and tucked in. Now I'm going to start my border. I'm going to go right from that first square. Sorry, it's right there, first square. Okay, don't skip one. And I'm coming up from underneath. I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to go up to the next square from underneath, pulling it, wrap that around. I'm getting it out of the way with my fingers underneath. I don't want to catch that yarn with the needle. And I'm going up one more, straight up from underneath, wrapping it underneath, straight up. And now I am basically just sewing, twisting, wrapping the yarn around that edge to cover that up. Looks really cool. Look it all the way around. I'll show you how to do the corners. I like my corners nice and square. You may see other ways of doing things. This is just what I found to work the best, and it looks nice and neat. Okay, now I'm up to the corner. So I'm for sure doing one on this side, and then I'm doing one more in the corner to catch that top side. Okay, moving on to the next one, straight across, always going from underneath. I'm always going from underneath. I don't know, I can handle my yarn better that way. For some reason, it's easier for me to go up than to go down. I've tried both ways. I like this technique better. I'm at the corner. I did one already in the corner, holding that down with my fingers back there. And then one more in the corner to wrap the other side of the corner. And we're on the home stretch. And I definitely measured this out to have enough yarn for this section of this color. You know, this is kind of reminding me too of like letters. You can make letters with your plastic canvas. There's so many different fonts that you can find online to get the pattern, kind of count out your grid. You can just use your dry erase marker to get your letters on there. Make up your own font or style. But this reminds me of doing those letters too. This is like a big I. Uppercase I. Okay, we're at the last one. Nice and cute. Now we're going to flip it over, and I want to get this tucked in. So I'm actually going to go vertical this time, straight up, and I'm going to do 3 to 4 of them. Can't really do more than that. It gets, the thing bends. It's hard to get your needle through. So I went up 4 straight up. Obviously it's very tight because of the loops, the stitches, whatever. Okay, it's definitely going to want to knot up on me, so I want to prevent that from happening right away. It's also double thick because you're doing, your tail is on there. There we go. Pull it up. Nice and tight. And here come the scissors. And I'm going close to it. I'm not leaving anything. Going right close to it. There you go. Look at that. How cute. All right, so I hope this helps. I hope this is fun. And if you have any questions or comments on this video, let me know. And please subscribe, please like. There's more videos to come. Plastic canvas, other projects I'm going to pull out. Crochet, loom knitting. Please come back, visit me again. Have a great day.